that information, advice, or guidance that you take from this video, along with analysis and predictions of the market, is not expert advice. Thus, you use and apply it at your own risk. We are not financial experts who deem themselves authorized financial advisors. We are only sharing content based on what we know and understand of the financial markets. Should you take this information and use it, and therefore find yourself in a position whereby you lose money when trading, we are not at fault. You are not to use this information as a final conclusion of whether you should buy or sell whatever instrument we are analyzing based on this video, but as trading insights, ideas that give clues of what the market is expected to do. We also expect you to do your own due diligence of analyzing the market fully and take profitable trading decisions before you invest your hard-earned money into the market. What's up, guys? We are back with another analysis for the next week. We are gonna be focusing as usual on US30, NASDAQ 100, and gold, which is XAUUSD. This is Sianda speaking, and of course I'm sharing this video with you live from South Africa. And of course, I'm a trader. I've been trading for a few years now. I can say approximately more than 5 years. So I'm quite experienced in the market, and I'm growing more and more profitable by the day. And for that reason, I decided that I'm going to be sharing with you market analysis just for free, just for you guys to join me in this journey as we grow and make money and grow in both skill and expertise in the Forex market. We don't want to be part of the huge percentage of traders that are classified as people who are losing in the market. So we have to join forces and work together here and there to make sure that we build a proper, successful group of people who have made it in the market and who are able to establish for themselves a financial freedom. Now, starting off with fundamental analysis, it's going to be quite a good fundamental week, but of course, as far as I have perceived, or as far as I know in terms of the impact of news from my personal experience in the market, I am very much convinced that the news that are going to be coming out this week are not going to be highly impactful, except for news that which are going to be released specifically on Thursday at 2:30 South African time. I'm not sure where your time zone is at based on where you're at, but if you want to know your time zone, just come up here where it says current time. I'm recording this video exactly at 19 minutes to 2 o'clock a.m. in the morning, right? So yeah, that's where you can just select over there. You can check depending on your location, right? So this week, the most impactful of news are going to be released on Thursday, right? Now, the first one that of which I see over there, which is the GDP, right? The GDP was specified or classified to be minus 0.5 the previous time, and it's anticipated to have grown, which means there is an improvement in the gross domestic product of the United States, which means that the dollar is expected to be positive at the release of those news, right? Likewise, the initial jobless claims, which were also released last week, by the way, as far as I remember, there were initial jobless claims news last week, and there were 235k, so they were worse than expected because the previous forecast was 226k, right? Now, for this next week, which we are going into, we are expecting that the initial jobless claims are going to be lesser than the previous. Remember, initial jobless claims simply means that the number of people who are claiming to be unemployed, right? The number of people who are actually or who have submitted that they are unemployed in that particular period of time. So, what this specifically means is they are expected to be better than previous. 235 versus 231 is a 4K difference, which means there's an expectation of lesser people to claim for being jobless. So that is good news. With a GDP that is rising, we should expect that news released at 2:30 exactly on Thursday should be positive for the dollar, right? Now we know that anything that is versus the dollar is going to be falling and the dollar will be rising. That means for commodities such as gold, we are going to be selling gold on Thursday because the dollar is forecasted to be rising on Thursday, right? These jobless claims, if I may also add, will also contribute to the outcome of the non-farm payrolls next week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is the last week of August that we are going into. So next week we'll be having the non-farm payrolls. So that basically means that we will be looking at initial jobless claims, how they performed, and that's how we are going to be able to determine whether we are going to be buying or selling NFP next week, right? But for this week, I don't really want to bother you with many other forms of news. If you're looking for information or explanations of what these news are all about, you just have to click them. As you can see right there, it says click to view more info on new home sales, right? So you just gotta click them and then you'll find out more information and explanations about what those news are all about. But for now, the major focus of news based on the economic calendar for next week, right, is all that of which I have shared for now, right? It's all about Thursday. That's why I can say I'm expecting an impact, right? Now, of course, I do share more news, right? Or I do look at other news like political news, technology news, depending on whatever it is that I'm trading. And recently, I have come to the knowledge of learning to recognize the value of the earnings calendar because I am trading both US30 and NASDAQ. So these are companies that are the most influential companies in the United States, and those are the companies that which I'm trading. And that basically means that the earnings calendar definitely can have information that is valuable depending on what is happening in any company whenever they release their earnings. Now, I know that without a doubt, because we are in August, next month is September, and in September, that is most likely the month where Apple, one of America's biggest companies that is mostly influential in the technology sector, is going to be releasing its latest products, especially the iPhone, right? Now, that basically means a buy for a whole lot of items or for a whole lot of instruments or pairs in the forex market, because Apple will definitely drive sales up, right? So yeah, that's it for today when it comes to fundamental analysis. Now, coming to technical analysis, first and foremost, definitely we are looking at US30. I'm going to try my level best to keep this short because I do not want you guys to be confused due to having or making a lot of explanations, right? So starting off looking directly at the weekly chart, you can basically see over there that I have already drawn some trend lines. I had drawn them last week, so the transition from one week to the next is not really that much. You know what I mean? So I decided not to delete this because whenever we are analyzing, of course, we do a top-down analysis. Now, as you can see, when it comes to US30, the trend has been to the upside, right, for quite a long time now. In fact, when we look at US30 from when the year began, it rose a little, fell hard, and rose the strongest, right? So it is actually on its way up, and I'm still anticipating that it will still come up here, as I did actually say last last week, right? Then this level, as I clearly stated last week, US30 is gonna fall down a little bit. In other words, it's gonna retrace and then shoot straight up before the end of the week, right? Now, unfortunately, it actually delayed to actually go down, right? It actually dragged for quite some time, and if you can see over there, for approximately 4 days, starting with last week Friday, right, it was consolidating in a downward movement, yet for the sake of retesting and gathering momentum to shoot to the upside. And in one day, which was Friday, it shot to the upside, right? Definitely making new highs, making new records, and by so doing, it has taken us to the upside directly as predicted, right? So of course, as you can see, the trend lines that which I've drawn here, by the way, I definitely love trend lines. I'm not saying they are everything that you need whenever you're trading, but definitely I love them for the fact that they are so easy to give market direction whenever you are trading. Of course, you can combine them with anything. When we are trading, of course, we use a whole lot of tools for confluences, which are our confirmations for our trades in order for us to be sure of the direction that we are taking, right? So I'm just placing these arrows just to point out the trend line values, right? Now this level up here where I have placed it, the last arrow, as you can see based on my cursor right there, my mouse cursor, as you can see, that is a level that I can look at and say the expected position of the market to move to, right? This is just my anticipated move. This is where I'm expecting that US30 will rise up onto, and we already do have a few confirmations because it has broken a few highs over there, right? Now coming to the daily chart, as you can see, and yes, definitely I still use support and resistance as one of my confluences. It's one of still the most best and strongest confluences you can use in the market. But yeah, definitely for now, just to gauge market direction, as you can see, this was a strong level where the market rejected from, right? From this level to this level to that level, and the fourth level over there, which is the level that was recently broken, but now much more broken clearly, right? So what are we expecting the market to do, or what are we expecting US30 to do this week, right? Because this strong level that is over here has already been broken. What that particularly means is this strong level has now become a level of strong support. And because it is strong support, we are expecting that the market will definitely be retracing to this level and continue going up. So basically on a Monday or Tuesday, unless stated otherwise, right? Because remember, we don't control the market controls itself, it moves the way that it wants, right? So on the daily chart, we can see clearly that the market has definitely been making higher highs and higher lows, right? If I can actually draw a trend line over there to actually confirm that. Remember, I said the trend lines are what we use in order to confirm market direction, right? They actually are helpful to help you see what the market is gonna do. If you can look at this trend line, I'm not saying the market is gonna move exactly like this, but this trend line drawn right here diagonally, right, positions this high or point of closure on Friday, right, as a position where the market can be expected to resist it and come back down here, right? Now, if you draw another trend line down here, we will basically see that we see a direction, a channel, as we may actually call it, right, a channel over there, which basically gives us a direction to the upside, right? In fact, on Friday, just by looking at this trend line, you can clearly see that the market fell from up there coming down here, and just from here the market bounced from here, retested that level, and shot straight to the upside. That's a clear signal of a buy right there. Right now, since the market had broken this level right here, which was where we were able to determine from last week that the market will reject here and fall back to the downside and then bounce to the upside, because now the market has cleared has cleared these highs and clearly moved to the upside. In other words, if there was any liquidity, it was clearly definitely taken out, right? The anticipation is that when it comes to US30 this week, the market will definitely drop to fill this void that is over there, bounce over here. It can be bouncing on this trend line or any other block that we can find over here, right? And then move straight to the upside. Remember, the market moves at its own time. So it can do all of these things that I'm saying quickly or slower. You get my point. But at the very same time, because we don't control the market, the fact that there's this strong up move to the upside, that is a clear signal of high momentum. It's only commonality. And as you can see over there, we do have a candlestick that shows a change in direction, or choose a rejection or a reversal of some sort, right? So we do, and we can confidently say we expect the market to come down. Even if it doesn't, we are assured that more than anything, because the market is already an uptrending market, we are just buying. So we are buying to the upside. So my anticipation is that as we trade this week, we should expect the market to reverse and come back down here. It may take 1 or 2 days to do this, or even when it opens, it may open lower. But this is definitely not final. So follow the market on a day-to-day basis. Remember, all I'm doing here is simply to just give you a guideline of what the market is going to do, right? I'm not giving you signals for day-to-day trading. You understand me? So I hope you guys understand that. And as you can see, it's pretty quite simple to be able to gauge that direction. Or well, maybe not, if you don't understand what the market is all about. But I'm sure from all of this, you basically have an idea of what to expect. Now you might ask me, but why would the market reject over there? The market moves in zigzags, guys. In other words, it moves in profit and loss, but the one that is the stronger move, the stronger investment, right? The stronger demand is the one, or stronger supply if it is falling, right? Is the one that takes precedence, or the most potential and power in the market, right? Which basically means that, which is where we find trends, and which is why we have trend lines. You get my point? So, but simply put, this is what I'm expecting the market to do this week when it comes to the US30. Now, coming over to NASDAQ, as you can see, once again, I have already drawn trend lines, much like US30. Yeah, NASDAQ 100 and US30 have a very strong correlation, because the companies listed on NASDAQ and US30 are quite the same, right? They only differ because NASDAQ is focused on technology companies and US30 is focused on any other sector of companies, yet the most toppest companies in the US, of which even the toppest companies that are on the US30 are also technology companies, which are also listed on NASDAQ. You get my point? Now, what that means is, as we are looking at NASDAQ, we can confidently look at both of these pairs in order to find clues, right? Even though that is not always the best approach, it can give you a tip here and there to assist you in being able to decide how to trade next week or next day, or even in the next moment. But of course, as I've drawn trend lines over here, I've even marked them with arrows already. This market is already on its move to the upside, right? So we are expecting, of course, even on this trend line, if I were to speculate or even analyze based on it, right, the market has already rejected on this trend line, and this trend line has already become a point of support, right? As you can see, the market broke it but retested on it a few times, even on Friday specifically, right? The market still bounced on this particular trend line and moved to the upside. You get my point? So what are we expecting from NASDAQ? Definitely we're expecting NASDAQ to be on the rise. Last week, I definitely said, when I looked at NASDAQ, I was actually so happy when I saw how NASDAQ moved, because that's exactly what I said, right? I clearly did say that I'm expecting NASDAQ to move down before it actually goes up. Quite similar to US30, but I definitely expected NASDAQ to be the one that actually falls the strongest, because the direction that it was showing, specifically based on technicals, was more to the downside than to the upside, right? Much more still like US30, we still do have a channel over here. So based on NASDAQ, even if there is a retracement, it might not be that strong, right? There's more potential for the market to rise to the upside. But of course, the market creates highs and lows, opens and closes on a day-to-day basis. So we should expect quite the very same thing, because right now we have this trend line over here, which is a weekly and a daily trend line, as a strong level of support. So we can confidently say we have a strong support over there, and that strong support is our confidence to say the market, even if it is to come back down, it will definitely bounce here and still move to the upside. But unlike US30, definitely I'm sure that with NASDAQ, we are definitely just bouncing straight to the upside, right? Of course, it can come back down to retest such levels, find an order blocked somewhere down here, but definitely it's gonna shoot from there straight to the upside. All right, so that is our anticipation for this next week. But of course, you shouldn't anticipate that the market will not have up and down movements. So definitely, once again, like I said, with US30, do monitor the market properly on a day-to-day basis, right? Check what the market is doing, and definitely you will see signals here and there. So upon market open, the market will give us confirmations. I had drawn actually another trend line over here based on this, which also gives a clear trend line. In fact, even with US30, I think I did see a trend line like this, right? I did see something like that, right? Of course, this is where even those who trade breakouts definitely found confirmations. I think I did see people who were trading that. If you were trading breakouts, definitely a trend line over here. This is US30. Make sure that you don't confuse the two, right? So yeah, the market broke that level. Definitely that's a clear buy. Those were a lot of pips, by the way, but definitely coming back to NASDAQ, as you can see, that is, it's actually at a point of resistance based on this trend line, right? So definitely you can expect it to come back down a little bit, right, to retest whatever it is that I can find over here and still shoot to the upside. So that's basically what we're expecting on NASDAQ for this week. More than anything, there's nothing beyond that, right? Definitely I am sure that as a way forward, as the market has retested this strong level, we are looking at NASDAQ making new highs, right? Definitely making new highs. So we are just buying until we actually find anything that can give us a reason to sell, or the market tells us otherwise, right? Definitely also keep monitoring fundamental news. I only shared fundamental news based on the economic calendar, not based on other geopolitical news or other news per se that actually do affect the market. So do check that out and stay following. Definitely you'll be able to find more reason of how to see the market moving. But technically, this is the outlook that we're expecting when it comes to NASDAQ. Now coming over to gold, of course, we have to do our top-down analysis. I think I removed the trend lines here, unlike I had actually done on the other pairs, but it's not a problem. It's not a problem. We can start afresh and actually draw them again. So one thing about gold, guys, you should always remember, gold is a strong mover. Gold can make you a lot of money, and gold is definitely empowered a lot by the dollar when it comes to our decision making. As long as we know what the dollar is doing, most likely we will also know what gold is doing, and that's where our jackpot can be at, or the support of our trading decisions can come from, right? Most likely, if you know what the dollar is doing, also checking most likely the US dollar index, you will definitely, I'm sure about it, you definitely know what gold is doing. And yeah, however, don't just stick to that, stick also to everything. You know, the market is a place where you apply a lot of knowledge in order to be able to gather information that empowers you to take the right decision. However, as you can see, even by the trend lines that which I have drawn before I even say anything, I am confident in saying one thing: gold has been in a state of consolidation, right? What that means is it's moving up and down. As you can see clearly over here, we have what we call in trading a symmetrical triangle, right? Now, a symmetrical triangle denotes a state of consolidation where a breakout can be expected at any given time. So that basically means at any given time, we should expect the market to break out of this level. Maybe not even a symmetrical triangle, or maybe in this small area over there. But besides that, the consolidation has been clear. It's been an up and down buying type of position, and if you were trading using this, you can still make money because the consolidation was on major time frames. So yeah, you could have still swinged it, sell there, buy here, like that. So basically at this point it's basically in the middle, so we should be expecting that at any given time from now it should break out and have one clear direction, of which the pattern that I'm seeing over here, right, is a pattern where the market is most likely to break out from here, right? We should expect a breakout up there. We should expect a breakout over there, right, where the market will be moving up and obviously coming back down to retest as usual and then move straight up, right, which basically tell us the clear direction of what we can expect gold to be doing in the near future. Right, so coming to this week, we should definitely still expect a little bit of consolidation, but definitely future-wise, either this week or even the next week, we should expect gold to eventually break out, unless once again stated otherwise, because this is the market, guys. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen, but as long as we are following the market on a day-to-day basis, we will definitely know what the market is exactly doing. Now, as you can see, these two levels of which the market has been consolidating at, as I mark them, are clearly strong resistance, right? Strong resistance over there. We have a strong support level over here. Right, the market has been bouncing at these levels, and as you can see, on Friday the market actually bounced up, which was gold here, after it changed character over there, retested this level and bounced to the upside, right? So definitely we should expect more of gold to behave quite the same way, a little bit as NASDAQ and US30. If anything, it might retest a little bit, then bounce straight to the upside. But because this is gold, it can still reject at this particular level over here, because that is its strong level, until it breaks out of it, and then we can clearly see and confirm what its clear direction is, right? But for now, we are trading in within this range over here, and since we are coming from down here, definitely we are anticipating that from down here, this is where we are going. We are coming up there, right? So we should anticipate the market to be, of course, moving in zigzags, and over there finding buys, and of course holding strong with the market. Yeah, for other people who are doing swings, maybe they might have been holding still throughout all of this time, but yeah, I'm quite sure that no one who was swing trading was still holding at this point, because it came back down here. But we can clearly see that the market is moving straight up, and it is coming to this level up here. Remember, I said until it breaks this level, because clearly, as you can see, I stated that we have a symmetrical trend line, right? If I can draw a trend line, if I can draw this, actually just like definitely like NASDAQ, where the market closed on Friday was definitely a point of resistance. So we still definitely can confidently say we're expecting the market to come back down. So we do have a symmetrical triangle based on the 4-hour chart, which show us the weekly view of the market and how the market is going to move, right? So here, guys, definitely I'm sharing analysis and information that gives direction, not everything in terms of analysis where I go deep into saying there's an order block here, or there's this, or there's that. No, I'm just sharing something that can give you direction and an idea of what the market is doing. The other things, the deeper details, the finer details of trading, definitely those are for my, my personal trading group, where I trade with people who are part, of course, of who are part of my team. You know what I mean? And of course, if maybe you want to be part of that team, of course, I have a free group for that, and definitely probably will establish a premium group over time. But for now, it's still free. We still share analysis over there. Now, I will definitely make sure that I leave links in the description, links to the WhatsApp group, links to my WhatsApp number. You can still text me over there and we can talk about trading and anything that you basically want to ask, any kind of advice that you might be looking for. And of course, any other thing, or maybe just to connect. It's good for people who are in the very same field, rather, to be in connection and work together. So like I said, we have a symmetrical triangle over here. A symmetrical triangle basically tells us that the market will eventually break out, right? So we should expect gold to either consolidate here and break out, come back down here to retrace, and then bounce to the upside. I'm definitely not expecting gold to fall to the downside, especially after such a strong move to the upside, guys. So more than anything, this is basically all I can say of what the market is going to be doing this week. I hope you guys have been following. If you definitely do have questions, don't be afraid to definitely reach out. Let's talk about trading. Let's be focused. Let's be devoted. Let's do what we got to do and make this money out of the market. I mean, if there's more than 6, 7, 8 trillion or whatever trillions that are there of money that is traded in one given day in the market, right? We can't fail to take some of that for ourselves, change our lives and live our dreams, right? Let's do what we gotta do, guys. Thank you very much for joining this video. Thank you for trusting me with your time to basically be checking out my analysis and what I have to say, my ideas, for trusting my ideas. I'm sure in most cases we are definitely going to be accurate, but of course that comes with hard work and keeping on doing what we got to do to improve our trading skills. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I'll definitely see you